Hello, my name is Karolina Besnic and I'm an ethicist at the Collegium Voytylianum. Today I'm joined by my colleague, Father Grzegorz Hołb, and we're going to talk a bit about the Collegium's mission and its new online initiative in which we're hoping to introduce the world a little bit more closely to the thoughts of Karol Wojtyła, our beloved Pope John Paul II. Father Hołb, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
I'm really excited with the work we're doing on the channel and all of the filming we've been doing recently. What I thought is today we could discuss with our audience our own encounters with John Paul II, specifically yours because you're an academic and you've studied and written quite a bit about John Paul II's thoughts and ethics in the modern world. So with that in our mind, I'd like to know, when did you first encounter the thoughts of Pope John Paul II? When did you encounter his words?
Because I'm from Poland, so naturally I've been living, I would say, in the shadow of John Paul II. So his words, his ideas, his presence has been felt in Poland for many, many years. And only later I took some philosophical interest into his legacy. Of course, I discovered that he's a very interesting figure, not only as Pope, as a figure known internationally, very important for the Catholic Church, but also as a scholar, as a wise man, someone who wanted to teach people. And actually he was a teacher, not only of the Catholic Church, but also of the contemporary world.
Pope John Paul II was a teacher, he was a thinker, and he was also a prolific writer. One book that he's particularly well known for, and it's a favorite of mine, and I've heard recently it's a favorite of yours, is Love and Responsibility. Could you explain when you first read this book and what its impact was on you?
Well, I read it a number of times. At first, I didn't find it easy. You needed, some academic preparation, some studies in philosophy, for example, to understand properly the message of the book. But definitely it's an important position. And basically it's an exposition of love and responsibility, the concept of love, which is always associated with responsibility. But also the book can be treated as a manual of personalist ethics. So there are many other interesting features about the book. It can be very instructive. Definitely it's very inspiring reading. Although, as I mentioned, a bit difficult, but we shouldn't be put off when we just find it a bit academic maybe, but it can be very enriching, no doubt about it.
Father Hołb joins us here at Collegium Voytylianum today, and he works extensively with us here. But he also is a professor at the university in Kraków named for Pope John Paul II, the Pontifical University of John Paul II. Could you tell me a little bit about what you do there, Father?
I'm a philosophy professor at the Department of Philosophy. I'm basically involved in bioethics, in philosophy of the human person, but also in philosophy of Karol Wojtyła. Generally, I would say I'm involved in contemporary philosophy and how personalism can enrich contemporary debates in various fields. So Wojtyła in this respect is very important contributor, very important participant of the discussion.
The Pontifical University resembles Wojtyła's teachings in a way, especially for me, from the international perspective. Pope John Paul II was a teacher for the world, not just for the Catholic Church, not just for the Vatican, but really for the world. And at the Pontifical University, I think we can see this as well. It has a very international character. Father, with that being said, this idea of universality, the Pope was the Pope, and our current Pope, the same goes for him, is the Pope of the Universal Church. And with this being said, Wojtyła's international character can be seen in his papacy. How would you say that his papacy in particular touched the church?
Wow, that's a very extensive topic, to be honest. Karol Wojtyła, John Paul II, was a very rich personality. Had a lot of positive features. He was a very talented man. We know him basically as a spiritual leader, a man of peace, someone who advocated very much for the world peace. But at the same time, he was a very interesting scholar, thinker, someone who worked out really good number ideas, projects, both philosophical and theological. So in this respect, I think that in kind of return to his legacy, a second approach to his legacy, I would say, and giving more attention to what he did is quite important and can be very also enriching for problems and debates we go through. We are dealing right now, yes.
And that brings us up to now and what we're doing here. Could you tell me, Father, what is Collegium Voytylianum? What are we doing here?
That's a new initiative here in Krakow, in the center of the city, located on the premises of St. Florian Church. The church is also important for the fact that Karol Wojtyła used to work here as an assistant priest for 2 years. Collegium Voytylianum is a kind of think tank and has many objectives. The main objective, of course, is to inquire into the intellectual legacy of Karol Wojtyła, John Paul II, to make it known even more, to usher people into a deeper understanding of what he did, but also to take care of many cultural goods which are here in Krakow, in the Archdiocese of Krakow. Krakow is a cultural capital of Poland, so we have a lot of things which not only are dear to our hearts, but demand further studies. I think that, in short, we can describe the Collegium Voytylianum is about these things.
And then, thinking of these ideas which you've mentioned and also of Pope John Paul II, what are we hoping to do with our YouTube channel? Because we have a lot of interesting projects coming up, I think.
Yes. Once we realize that definitely such a job must be done in Poland, namely to, in a sense, refresh Karol Wojtyła, John Paul II, to make it more known and better understood. But this job is also for the world, for the universal church, and for the contemporary world. In various corners of the world, there are people who also highly appreciate Karol Wojtyła, John Paul II. We want to invite all who are interested or who will be interested in his legacy. And this channel is, in a sense, to create a community of people who are interested, who appreciate the legacy of Karol Wojtyła, John Paul II, but also people who want to know more about him, even people who try to figure out to what extent his ideas, his projects can be useful for contemporary debates and problems we are dealing with.
And you spoke about, Father, about the reach of the message that we're trying to kind of share here. Why is it important for Collegium Voytylianum to have an international audience? Because this is one of our ideas of having a YouTube channel, is that we'll be able to reach more people than just here in Krakow. But why does this matter?
Well, in Krakow, we have a lot of international tourists. It's a very popular place in Poland. But this channel is basically aimed at going into the depth of what Karol Wojtyła left. So we want to in a sense, challenge that superficiality in approaching his figure, his works, to invite you to, in a sense, study, to think deeply about what he did, because only then we can really discover the preciousness of his legacy. So this channel, in a sense, is an invitation to a kind of intellectual and spiritual journey through the world of Karl Wojtyła John Paul II.
Well, if it's going to be a journey, I think we're going to need a bit more coffee before we start the next chapter. So, Father, I'm going to leave you now. Thank you so much for coming in today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I will go find us some coffee before our next discussion.